Hi, hello. My name is Julie. I'm the Eco Design Advisor from Christchurch City Council. I provide a free consultation at usually 2 hours. We usually meet at the cafe because I'm a coffee addict. So it's a 2 hours consultation, and basically what we do is we look through the drawings of your new build, and we look at how to make it more efficient, how to make it more eco-friendly, how to make it warmer and drier. And this service has been in place for 7 years now, and it is for the public, mainly targeting homeowners who are building new homes, but it's also for renovations. We're also targeting builders who are interested to do better, especially with detailing and construction methodology that might be innovative or new for New Zealand. And I'm also working with the industry and suppliers of building materials who wants to do things differently or wants to work closely with the council. I belong to the building consent team as well. So I do a little bit of compliance with energy efficiency, but I help a lot, mainly with new details. And my background is I'm a registered architect, back in France, but also here in New Zealand. And my little secret is I used to work for Bob Burnett, and I was involved really early on with the super home movement. And that's pretty much where I learned all my tricks that now I'm, share with them the service as the Eco Design Advisor. So I learn with the best. That's for sure.
You can talk about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
All right, so usually consultation will start with a little chat with the homeowners, and basically what's going to happen is I hear about their story, and if there is any concerns or topics they want to talk about, I'm going to make a list about it. After that, we talk about, I'm going to have a look at the plans and look at the orientation and the layout, make some general comments there. After that, we talk about the thermal envelope of the building. And after that, we talk about the services and how the building is going to function. The type of people that usually comes to me are very broad. Like I see from like someone who is renting a house to a $10 million house being built. So the range is kind of extreme. I have people who are very specialized and they want to be bang for buck and they're looking for being eco-friendly. Some people, they're more focused on good design and good detailing. Some people, they don't want any formaldehyde in all the building construction, so we're looking at very organic materials. So it's quite a variety.
It's quite diverse.
It's quite diverse. It's quite diverse. I see quite a bit. And then people have their own interest, so that's always a challenge. But very interesting. And budget is quite an interesting topic too. Quite often people don't really talk too much about it. So I make a point of making sure, this is part of the discussion. Quite often I found that...
Sound again, absolutely.
Absolutely. And sometimes I feel like people don't even know what they want. And it's a bit up to me to dig and to figure out exactly what they mean, because quite often they will use some vocabulary that are not necessarily what they mean. And a typical example is someone who comes to me and then he went on a super home tour and he's like, oh, underfloor heating, I want underfloor heating. And then they show me the design and there's like carpet everywhere. And I'm like, okay, that's not going to work. You can't put like insulation onto your heating device. So if you want underfloor heating, you'll have to have like polished concrete, or maybe 50% of your floor area. And then people starting to think, and they're like, oh, but no, I really want carpet. I'm like, okay, so maybe underfloor heating is not necessarily what you want. What you mean is you want central heating. You want heating everywhere, distributed evenly. And here there is a lot of options you can choose where you can have carpet. And then so it's just about, understanding what's the meaning behind a word, and then making sure we actually speaking the same language. It's quite an interesting part of the job. Absolutely.
Perfect. Sorry, wait.
All right. So the council and the super home movement. It's a long love story, if I would say. We've been involved together for a long time, and the fact, like, I used to work for Bob for 4 or 5 years before jumping into this new role at council helped a lot to actually join forces. We are involved, the council is involved with all the super home tours that Bob is organising over the years. And it was very surprising how the public embraced that love for architecture, innovation, and the fact like the homes are open to the public. It's something that council can't offer. And then that was like a big something that was missing, and then now it's kind of provided. Now it's kind of it's kind of really fascinating for me because I see the evolution of the super home movement, and then this year, and then from a few years now, they started to develop something we don't really see much. Is like they provide you with the scale of like efficient building. So you've got that base building, that better building, or that best, and then it's kind of unique in a sense where finally we are re-empowering people to make conscious decisions on how they can be within their house, and how involved and what layer or level of I'm gonna have to rephrase that. I lost my train of thoughts.
That is absolutely perfect. About the
The
loneliness.
discretion for people to make their own choices of what's important to them. And
Yeah.
Well, the
what's
flexibility.
affordable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Flexibility
Yeah.
and
Which is perfect. So if you don't sort of carry on from that.
Yeah, so quite often people are a bit lost with like when it's time to choose and specify product or quality or level of insulation or ventilation systems or air tightness. And I think with the super home movement, what's great is like they've got options. We're re-empowering people to make a call. They're not just following a product or something they've seen on TV. They've got a choice, and I think that's what the Eco Design Advisor service is popular, because I'm not selling a product or anything. I'm just providing options to people, and we can find that as well with the super home tour, because it's not necessarily you need to have the best, the bigger, and the better. There is options according to your budget, to your wishes, to what you're sensitive to. So it's very targeted, which is great.
Just feel free.
Yeah. So I'm an architect myself, and quite often I found out that homeowners spend less time designing and thinking about the layout of their house than their time they will spend on choosing a new car and the specs for the new car. And quite often I try to emphasize on that, because this is very important. Half of your life is going to be spent at home. You're going to be sleeping, eating, whatever, but like you spend a big section of your life at home. So it's very important to make sure like the house you design for yourself is fit for you and is set up yourself for a better future. And quite often We'll look at materials, we'll look at like the layout, but there is how we work through architecture, how we practice architecture, how do we, the usage of the house is kind of very important. For me, for example, the kitchen is the heart of the house and everything has to flow around, and this is where I spend most of my time. And quite often I will not be cooking. I'll read the newspaper, I'll put my computer on things, and just work there on, you know, whatever. But it's very important. So I think it's very it's crucial to have that strong discussion about how do you want to live in this house. Forget about how you used to or what you used to. What do you want to have now? And something that has freed my mind, for example, is in some of the simple spaces, but just having light on sensors. You don't think about turning the switch on or off when you go to bed or when you go to the loo, or, you know, just like these simple little things that will make your life way easier. Or having automatic systems like, you know, your heating system or your ventilation system. Like, I never had to think about, oh, is the heating on in my house or not? Or do I have to put it on? It's automatic, like I'm mind-free with regards to that. And it's very, very important.
Perfect. Just your house, yeah.
Yep. So 5 years ago, I designed my own house. Well, actually, I designed a house for me and my partner in Littleton, and this is a super home house. We have reached a 9-star home star rating, build rating, so it's pretty high. The only thing missing at the moment is solar panels. Hopefully this year we're going to have them, so it's going to be fully completed. But when I designed that house, I just applied for that role at the council, and because I truly believe, you know, we can do better all together. And I really wanted to emphasize and encourage people to do better. And I was like, if I have to preach for better design and better home environment, I have to walk the talk. So basically what I did when I designed that house is I focused on the Paris Agreement and the climate change program we have in New Zealand, and trying to apply how a good house would be designed. So this one in particular, it was about low carbon, trying to store carbon. So that's why we've got CLT and a simple layout. My partner was probably the worst client I ever had, and he knows, very difficult, very specific on what he wants, and a lot of abstract concept, which was hard for me to translate as an architect into, you know, reality. But I think at the end, the outcome is just sublime. Yeah, I'm really proud of it. I put all my heart in it, and it was on the Super Home Tour a few times. I opened it to the public. I love sharing. Yeah, I love sharing the love. So that's what good design is. CLT, it's cross-laminated timber. This is a structural panel made of solid wood that are your wall. So basically solid wall. It has the capacity to store carbon emission to a level that's nowhere known for building materials. So you're getting a negative credit when you use CLT. And nowadays, some of the CLT is also untreated, which is challenging for New Zealand, but fantastic for your health. So there's a lot that happened since 5 years now. And then, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay, renovation. 30% of the consultation I do at the council are about renovation, or what we called also deep retrofit. So basically, we go from simply adding insulation in the walls and the ceiling and changing a little bit of the layout to stripping the building out and then redoing completely the thermal envelope and thinking differently. So we can go from like the base minimum to the best, depending on the budget and the willingness and the time. So there's a lot of work to do in this area. And renovation is not just painting, right? Let's make it clear.
I like that.
Yeah, so let's make something clear. A renovation is not just about painting or changing your kitchen, right? It's way deeper than that. So let's make it clear. When it's time to make a renovation and let's say you want to do something, you want something new, or you want to work on ventilation, for example, it is very hard nowadays to find accurate information. Like a lot of if you go on the media or on internet, you can hear about everything, about anything, and it's very difficult to be on point. So I think having a source of information that's reliable, it's very crucial and very difficult nowadays, especially impartial information, and then. The Superhome guide for that is actually pretty good, because it explains how system works with very generic words that most of the people can understand, not necessarily just professionals in this area. And then there is like links for if you want to deep a little bit more into the systems. And it helps to break it down into like more understandable part of it. And then when you're doing a renovation, you don't have necessarily to renovate everything all the time. And then it's very important to trying to target what's most important for you and then action on that. But you also have to think about the future and what can you do right now to future-proof your house for later. And I think for that, the Superhome guide is kind of really flexible in a sense, and then some of the parts are also interlinked, so it helps a lot to navigate this like big web of what can I do to renovate my house. So fantastic tool.
Really enlightening for me.
I've got a good trick for people when they are just at this scenario where they're like, is this a good design for me? Am I ready to, move to the building consent drawings? And I said to them, well, one evening, sit down on your couch, just have a glass of water and just close your eyes and pretend you're going home to this new house. How does it work? How does it feel? What do you do first? And then stay with your own emotions and see how you feel. And then I had very few interesting comments from people, and the lady was like, this was a nightmare. Excuse me. My bedroom is way too far away from like my coffee maker. So we just changed the layout at the last minute to accommodate that. But in general, we've got good instincts as a human, and we just need to follow them. And then, that'll be a good measure to know if you've got a good design.
An award-winning house,
Yeah, and I used it as a tool, for my work. We use it with Bob as just a great way for people to experience architecture, because quite often we found like you might say, hey, ventilation is very important. You need to have it, and people, if they don't experience what it is to have a good ventilation system in the house, they're not going to embrace it. They need to see and they need to experience first to then adopt something new. And then underfloor heating, for example, was a great tool. I remember when we did the first couple of Superhome tours, because we organized the tour in winter, and then people will go into a place and then we ask them to take off their shoes, of course, and then they experience the warm floor and they're like, oh, wow, that's changed completely people's perspective on concrete floor. It's not cold, it doesn't have to be. So yeah, experiencing architecture is crucial.
What did you think of the concrete house on the tour? I loved it.
Me too. That concrete house is brutal, and I love it for that. It's just blurring the line. It's so different from what we say. It brings a different type of experience as a human being, and I think just for that is fantastic. It's not for everyone, but yeah, to the bottom of my heart, I love it.
We can use you talking about your own house, but
If you want to take a picture from your